Good afternoon. It's 3:30 p.m. on the East Coast of Florida. This is part two. Please go back and look at part one. A lot of really important news going on today. And if you haven't seen it, please go back, like, repost, put the comments in. As usual, I'm in the doghouse. Now, in part one, I also do talk about the history of the red lipstick and why. So please look at that and put on your glasses, your sunglasses, if it's too bright here today. Now, where I left off, I'm talking, of course, about the tariff trade war going on between the US, Canada, Mexico, and China. And the response is what I was leaving off at in part one from the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, who spoke very emotionally about the unbelievable partnership and strength between the US and Canada that goes back to World War II on the beaches of Normandy, and he brought it even up to 9/11, everything. And it was very emotional, very moving. And he is now telling Canadians to basically boycott US products. He said it might mean checking the labels at the supermarket and picking Canadian-made products like Canadian rye over Kentucky bourbon, foregoing Florida orange juice altogether. Oh boy. Yeah, all of us in the red states here, the blue dots in the red states. Yeah, again, more of that we're having in the FAFO. We're having to FO, even though we didn't FA. But anyway, and he said it also might mean changing your summer vacation plans to stay here in Canada. Oh, and not come to Disney World, I guess, or the Florida beaches. Trudeau then rhymed off a list range of American products that would face tariffs: wine, bourbon, fruits, fruit juices, orange juice, vegetables, perfume, clothing, shoes, major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, sports equipment, and materials like lumber, plastics, and much, much more. In 2024 alone, the United States imported more than $400 billion worth of oil, autos, auto parts, and other goods from Canada. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said, quote, "This is not a smart move." And he said it only hurts Canadians. It hurts your own people, meaning Americans. It hurts you and your administration. It makes Americans poorer. Oh, I guess they didn't sign up for that, or did they? Then, in a letter to Trump on Saturday night, signed by 42 House Democrats, Representative Greg Stanton of Arizona warned that a trade war will harm diplomatic ties and devastate U.S. households. Quote, "The real pain will be felt by everyday Americans." But as I talk about in part one, Trump acknowledged that today in a Truth Social and said, well, Americans, they're going to have to hurt. They're going to have to suffer. Adam Schiff explained Trump's tariffs will be paid by Americans like a tax. And we keep trying to explain that to people. Now, this announcement by Trump sparked so much anger across Canada that during the Star-Spangled Banner at the start of an NHL hockey game in the Canadian capital there, they booed while that was played. And there were several people that actually have been asking to have our flags and banners taken down in the Canada arenas there. Yeah, first time in my lifetime where we truly are the bad guys. Now, I'm not saying that there haven't been many instances, as we know, throughout the history of America where we have done very, very bad things. But this is where it's not even under the cover of anything. It's just outright for the whole world. Now, not only is this red state of Florida finding out that this is going to be a world of hurt, but also another red state, Michigan. Go figure. Now, interestingly, Canada's conservative leader, so not just Justin Trudeau, but the conservative leader, condemned the tariffs as, quote, massive, unjust, and unjustified. And he said, quote, "Canada is the United States' closest neighbor, greatest ally, and best friend. We share the longest undefended border and fought along with the Americans in 2 world wars, also Korea and Afghanistan, where 158 of our brave men and women unalive during helping the U.S. avenge the 9/11 attacks." He also said, quote, "This isn't a one-day battle. It's not a one-week battle. It's not a one-month battle. It is a 4-year battle against President Trump." I bet you he would like some red lipstick about right now. Now, here's a headline you don't really like to see or have a lot of confidence in what it means. CNN titled, "We do not know what exactly Elon Musk is doing to the federal government." No, I don't. Did we elect him? Is Doge a real thing? No, it's not. Okay, Americans don't know the full extent of what Elon Musk is doing as he embeds alongside President Donald Trump at the top of the federal government. Yeah, there is no actual appointment by him. He has not been elected to anything. And Doge is not real. It's just a little fake thing that he and Trump made up and said was an advisory board. But this advisory board has now taken over Congress's jobs, the executive office jobs, and it's going with the DOJ as well. What we do know is that Elon Musk is the world's richest man, this article said, and the president's largest campaign benefactor, a person whose companies have grown fat on government contracts. Ding, ding, ding. There's your clue, folks. So he has a greater financial interest in how the government operates than your average naturalized immigrant. And then it goes on. There are clues. With that context in mind, consider this startling passage from a report by CNN's Caitlin Polans, Phil Mattingly, and Tierney Sneed about a standoff between the career officials at the Treasury Department and the employees of Doge, the fake department. It has morphed after the election from the out-of-government advisory panel that Trump talked about to now being inside the White House complex. So as we know, the top civil servant in the Treasury Department, David Lebrecht, left unexpectedly on Friday after Trump-affiliated officials with Doge expressed interest in stopping certain payments made by the federal government. According to one person familiar with the department, Trump-affiliated employees had asked about the Treasury's ability to stop payments. But David Lebrecht pushed back and said, quote, "We don't do that." And then this person said they, meaning these officials with Doge, seem to want Treasury to be the choke point on payments, and that's unprecedented. I'm real tired of that word, everybody. And then added that it's not just the Bureau's role to decide which payments to make, it is to actually make the effing payments, this says. Now, Musk is claiming to be reclaiming the government for you, the taxpayer. Are you winning yet? He wrote on X, "This is the critical battle to restore power to the, quote, people from the mess of unelected bureaucracy." Well, you know what? He sounds like he's in a bureaucracy and he was not elected. And he has been pushing people through his platforms and at rallies to oppose the use of taxpayer dollars to fund nonprofits affiliated with anything that is with the government and doing good works, like Catholic Relief Services, the World Food Program, and Save the Children. And of course, we then found out through the New York Times and other reporting this week that 3 former Musk employees took top positions at, quote, the Office of Personal Management. And that was normally an obscure HR department of the federal government. And it was OPM that first created a government-wide email system. And then they took that over and blasted that to millions of federal workers with that whole fork in the road thing, giving them that option to resign with pay, with that kind of or else floating there. It caught everyone off guard, and watchdogs in the government have said it is illegal. Musk had pulled a very similar move when he took over Twitter. And we know about this whole brouhaha about now he having access to all of the personal data with that federal treasury. So that is people's social security numbers, that is people who have tax returns, everything. And of course, the outstanding question is, has he taken some kind of oath? And like federal workers have to, but can he uphold the Constitution? Will he? He doesn't seem to be. It seems to be the opposite. So we know that he wants the mass firings to identify the, quote, minimum number of employees required at an agency. And one wonders now, what is the minimum number of air traffic controllers? Spending cuts, and then a hard look at Medicare. Feeling good? Feeling happy? Oh, well, we're, in that FAFO that we all had to go along with. All right, everyone, we'll talk to you later.